Go. Call the North Plains Planning Commission meeting for September the 10th to order at 6 o'clock. Please stand and please with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, please get the roll call
Thank you. Chair King,
here.
Vice Chair Labate,
Here.
Commissioner Health,
Here.
Commissioner Canodell,
Here.
Commissioner Miller,
Here.
Commissioner Para,
Here.
Commissioner Nennekamp,
Here.
and your ex officio this evening is Counselor Page.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 4 is public comment. This time is available for anyone in the audience or Zoom for any comments of planning commission business that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience? Seeing no one, is there anyone on Zoom?
No on Zoom.
No one on Zoom. All right, so we will move to item number 5 is approval of the minutes for August the 13th. Are there any corrections, comments, or changes? Hearing none, I have one concern. It's, I noticed this and also was brought to my attention by someone else of the use of titles or honorifics. And this is the first time I've really noticed that we're pretty heavy on them. To be fair and equitable, I think we either need to dispense with titles and honorifics, or I think everyone needs to have one so that we're not indicating any particular person. So Gloria, if you can make sure that that gets corrected. When I see a couple in the public comments, sometimes there's just guesses on what the right title is, and so I just think if you use their name, would probably be better. And then any of the staff would just use their title.
Okay,
All right, thank you. With that and those changes, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the planning commission meeting minutes from August the 13th. As it stands with Stuart's comments.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Nennekamp and seconded by Commissioner Canadell on approval of the August 13, 2025 minutes with the changes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, that brings us to item number 6, public hearing. This is a quasi judicial in which we will be making decisions either tonight or continuance. This is for a conditional use permit, file number 25-007. So if I could please get the description on the public hearing process and appeal process.
thank you. The North Plains Planning Commission will conduct a quasi judicial public hearing on City File 25-007 conditional use permit. The order of business will be as follows. The commission chair will open the public hearing and ask for declarations of conflict of interest, ex parte contact, or personal bias. The commission chair will request the staff report. The commissioners may ask questions at any time during the public hearing. Any written correspondence submitted on behalf of the subject application will be orally presented, including the individual's name and address. The applicant will be invited to present oral testimony first. The public will be invited to provide oral and written testimony on the proposed land use permit, first by proponents, then opponents, followed by those individuals who are neutral. Additional staff comments will then be presented. If opposing testimony is presented, the applicant will be provided an opportunity for rebuttal. Opponents will also be provided an opportunity to speak in regards to the rebuttal. The commission chair will call for commission comments and discussion. The commission chair will close the public hearing or continue the hearing to a specific time and date. If the commission chair closes the public hearing, a decision will then be entered by the commission. The decision will then be entered into a final findings of fact order, which will then be mailed with a letter detailing the decision to all parties of the proceedings. Appeals of a land use decision must be received by the city recorder within 15 days following the date the decision is mailed to the parties. All persons testifying shall be deemed parties to the proceeding and must provide their name and full mailing address. Parties will be notified of the decision, continuances, appeals, or other procedural actions required by the city, by the code and state law. The city municipal code, zoning and development standards specifies applicable criteria to be relied upon in making a decision. Those criteria and findings of fact are in the city staff report. Public testimony should be limited to those criteria and findings of fact or to other city or state land use standards that the person testifying believes applies to the proposed land use action. Failure to raise an issue in person or in writing with sufficient detail to afford the hearing body and parties to the hearing an opportunity to respond to that issue precludes appeal to the city council or land use board or to seek damages to the Washington County Circuit Court due to a condition of approval.
Thank you. Okay, we will open the public hearing at 6:07 for conditional use permit, file number 25007. If I could, one question I have just for clarification. I know this is also a change of use, I'm assuming, so as a conditional use permit, was that going to cover that same criteria?
Yeah. Criteria that would be covered in a design review.
Making sure we cover our bases on that.
Yes.
All right, so if I could please get the, oh, excuse me, before that, are there any of the planning commissions that wish to declare any conflict of interest, ex parte contact or bias? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience or Zoom that challenges any of the planning commissioners? Hearing none, okay. If I could please get the staff report and recommendations?
Yes, thank you, Chair. As mentioned, this is for conditional use permit 25-007 for Sylvia's River Charter School. We will begin with a short description of the applicant's proposal. The subject property is 10150 Northwest Glencoe Road. This property is located between Northwest Highland Court and Northwest Pacific Street on Glencoe Road. You may know its location by being located next to the Allstate building, across from the former Subway, and next to Hobson's Gym. The subject property is being proposed to be occupied by a learning center as identified by the applicant under the category educational facility in North Plains Zoning and Development Code. The applicant's proposal includes the establishment of recreational areas for students in the backyard part and former parking area of the subject property, the designation of a new loading zone, trash enclosure, and minor site improvements as well as parking area improvements. You can see in the vicinity map on this property or on the screen that the property is dominated by a parking area in the front, followed by a large structure in the back measuring of approximately 3,200 square feet. There are small landscaped areas on the north and south sides of the property, as well as a landscaping island at the west end of the property and a small backyard and the east end of the property. This is the applicant's site plan for the educational facility. You'll see that this is laid out so that north is at the top of your screen. I unfortunately don't have a laser pointer on me, so I'm going to use some creative. Do we have a laser pointer that's working?
I believe I do.
Okay. Wait for a moment, we'll see if we have a laser pointer.
I hope it works for you. Possibly not. Keep going and I'll see if I have that.
So we'll go through this with the creative descriptions first. As we go through the site, west to east, you'll see the landscaping area at the front. Followed by the parking area. This parking area currently has 31 parking spots with one ADA van accessible spot. With the applicant's proposal, that would be reduced to 21 parking spots, including the one ADA van accessible parking spot. You'll notice at the west end, northwest end of the property, there is a provision for a trash enclosure, as well as a loading zone, which meets the minimum loading standards for this development. As we move eastward, you'll see at the southeast end of the parking area, a recreational area, which the applicant has provided for the pupils. North of that, you'll see the provided a little black rectangle there that is for the bicycle parking area. And that leads on a ramp up to the deck in front of the structure. The structure will hold 3 classrooms, a variety of small meeting rooms for the applicant to operate this educational facility out of. I'd like to mention that the applicant has identified the learning center as a space for small classes, individualized tutoring, and both in-person and virtual support for their students. So this isn't functioning entirely as a school, as an elementary or junior middle high school, but is also not similar in use to, say, a preschool or kindergarten, because these are going to be students that are more mature than that. As we go through, you'll see how this comes into play with some of our development standards. When we received this application, notice was sent out to the following agencies, and the following responses or lack of response was received. For Clean Water Services regarding stormwater facilities, there's no permit or development required. For Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, Fire and Life Safety Review, no permit required as well. And then North Plains Engineering, Washington County Land Use and Transportation, both neglected to provide any comment, which we take as implicit consent to the development. And we did also put out public comment by mail and published notice in the Forest Grove News Times. Neither of those efforts resulted in any comment being returned to the city.
This question, it doesn't say in the staff report, but it was the 250-foot mailing.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
Thank you.
This application was reviewed under the following criteria. It was reviewed for the conditional use permit criteria, zone specific standards for the C2 general commercial district, public facilities improvement standards, street standards, and the off-street parking and loading standards. Now, as we consider our proposed conditions, the first one is the addition of a street tree in the right-of-way adjacent to Glencoe Road. This property currently is not developed with any street trees. There are a variety of landscaping bushes and some hedges along the north side of the property, but a dedicated street tree does not exist, so I would propose that as a condition of approval. Following that is an adjustment to the parking area. The current parking spaces do not meet the minimum depth requirement, as I've expanded upon in the staff report. But the provided aisle is much greater than the minimum. So we propose that the applicant provide some adjustments to the striping of their parking area to extend the depth of those parking spots and slightly reduce the aisle. Following that is the bicycle parking. The applicant has provided for 4 bicycle parking spots, but these are located outdoors in an uncovered area. Part of our off-street parking and loading standards does require that bicycle parking be provided both for short-term use, so that would be something like a bike rack in an uncovered area similar to a parking area, as well as long-term use, and that would be something that's weather protected and designed for employees, students, long-term visitors to the site to store bicycles for several hours. That long-term storage was not provided in the application and has been proposed as a condition of approval. Additionally, with the 4 provided spots in this bicycle rack area, there this is not meeting the minimum requirement for a school. With the addition of the 3 classrooms, that triggers the requirement that 2 bicycle spots be provided per classroom, bringing the total to 6. So as a condition of approval, I propose requiring an additional 2 bicycle parking spaces. And all of these proposed conditions are up on the screen here. So the street tree off of the Washington County approved street trees list, a restriping of the parking lot, a weather protected bicycle parking area, and an additional 2 bicycle parking spots. That said, our recommendation as staff is to approve the conditional use permit for Sylvies River Charter School with conditions of approval as proposed. I will now open for any questions you may have.
I'd like to start off with a question about the bicycle parking. I know we're talking about short-term, long-term, minimum requirements, 3 per classroom. Assuming classrooms have students, then, by the identification of long-term, it refers to students. So, but your conditions of approval just say adding 2, doesn't identify that they're long-term. I see that you've got a number 3 that it's weatherproof, but it doesn't say how many in there, so if we could get that nailed down to exactly how many need to be weatherproofed?
So Chair King, would you like to require that all 6 spaces be weatherproofed?
Well, my question is that, you're talking about short-term and long-term, but my understanding of how I interpret the code is that the classrooms require long-term parking, so that would be 6 weatherproofed. But does that then cover the short-term parking? Is that a separate requirement? So would that be 2 more?
So there is no minimum on short-term and long-term, just that both be provided. So potentially this could be split up. It's, if we wanted to require that all of the minimum parking for the classrooms be weatherproof long-term parking, then it would be 6 parking spots for those classroom spots, and then as low as 1 parking spot for the short-term parking.
Okay. I don't have it right here in front of me, but I also saw where there's a minimum of 2 parking spaces.
It's
for
a minimum of 2 for any development.
For any development, okay, but it doesn't identify if they're short-term or long-term.
It does not provide that identification.
Okay, so I guess what, at least in my mind, there should be 6 long-term. And it should be part of the conditions of approval. My understanding is the planning commission determines that. Is that correct?
Yes, you are free to impose any
I'll
conditions.
let the other
related to the
commissioners, yeah, just weigh in on that, so, but that's my opinion on that. Obviously, the parking is ample for what it says. I see the map that you had up there, but it doesn't have any dimensions on it, so I can only assume that since we're not eliminating parking at either the north end or the south end, there's ample room to add the 2.5 feet to the parking stalls and still have a 26-foot aisleway, so
Yes.
that the property would have to have a minimum of 63 feet in width.
Yes, the review of the dimensional standards of that parking area show that there's ample room for that adjustment to be made.
Okay, one other thing is in the application package, it was a rendering of the interior of the building. You have that available?
I do not have that on the slide deck,
Okay.
but I can likely hold it up. I don't think it's in this version of the packet, is it?
Is that the one? that
It's a
came
supplement.
today? Oh, you want me to email it?
The one that was sent out today should have it,
Yeah.
that's where I got it.
So unfortunately, I don't have that loaded onto this computer at the
Okay.
moment. I'm not sure what.
Well, okay.
Can I put it somewhere we can grab it?
What I'm looking at is a rendering that was in the packet that shows a number of rooms. Offices, front desk area, storage rooms, but it also, it's an open rooms, but it, couple open rooms, but it has 8 rooms, so. But it doesn't identify 3 classrooms, so I'm just kind of concerned as, are there only 3 classrooms, even though there's at least 15 or 10 to 15 rooms in the building?
Yes, I'll let the applicant explain a little bit more about their proposed usage of the building, but it is my understanding that the different rooms are to be used for different administrative duties, individual tutoring, and then only a few of the rooms would be used for actual multiple student instruction.
Commissioner Miller, questions?
Yes, one question, one proposal, one question. Will the applicant talk about the use in terms of age range, so I can think about safety condition, any safety things or parking requirements?
So we do not have any criteria regarding age range for development standards to apply to this proposal. But I'm sure the applicant would be happy to explain a little bit more about how they plan to accommodate for safety.
Perfect. And then secondly, to Chair King's comments on the bicycles, would it meet the compliance standards if we required them to maintain the proposed 4 outdoor and add 2 more indoor?
Yes, that would be within your authority.
That would meet the compliance requirements.
It's a. Yes.
That's all.
Commissioner Levante?
Can you make sure your mic is, can everybody make sure their mic's on when you're talking? Pull the button up to the. Up a little bit more, Heather, the button's up.
I know, but I don't. Oh,
That's it. There you go. Thank you.
thank you, Chair King. I had a couple questions, actually. Regarding the street tree, it's my understanding that the initial street tree that was there was actually removed because it was a hindrance to the site exiting the property.
It
So
was with their vision.
that's what I
Okay.
understand, but I don't know if that's, still an issue or not. So I'm kind of hesitant to require a tree if it's gonna, again, be an issue, especially with moving children back and forth on the site.
Yeah,
The tree
I,
cannot be put in clear vision.
I measured the clear vision area as part of my review for this proposal and found that there's ample right of way to install a street tree that does not go into the clear vision area as required by code.
And then regarding the bicycle parking. I mean, I know it's a twofold thing, it's both for a conditional use permit as well as a change of use of the property. But this is gonna be a charter school, it's not gonna be like our normal elementary schools to where you're gonna have, a bunch of neighborhood children riding bicycles to school, so it kind of seems unrealistic to require such a large amount of bicycle parking when realistically that as a charter school, that might not even maybe one be used. I don't know. That's my 2 cents at the moment.
Commissioner Howe?
My main concern is we're talking children, is there a fire suppression system in the building? And is it required, since it's considered a school, that it has them?
As an application requirement, the applicant did have to reach out to Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue and provide their plans to that organization. Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue found that no permit was required, so we take that to mean that they meet all fire life safety requirements.
So I know by the state of Oregon, you build a building and call it a school, be it a training center or anything else, it's required.
Yeah, I want to clarify that this is not a proposal to build a school. This is an educational facility, which is a different land use under our code.
You put school, Says
It's,
school
it's a
right
charter
there on the
school operating an
page.
educational facility. That's the name of the applicant, Sylvie's River Charter School.
Anything else, Commissioner Howell?
That's it.
Commissioner Nunningham?
And going back to the clear vision on the tree thing again, where are you proposing that tree then?
So the
Then
tree
that-
can occur, actually, I'll pull up the site plan here.
In the area where the sign is at there?
So from here, you can see that there is over 50 feet of frontage, between the north property, or about 50 feet of frontage between the north property line and the start of the driveway's northern edge. Our clear vision area extends 20 feet, from the apex of the driveway and the street. And that is quite a small area in comparison to this total property. It would only extend maybe about 15 to 20% of the way up that section between the driveway and the northern property edge.
I'm also concerned about the other traffic that has to come in and out of that lot right next to that, right on that edge.
That's where their driveway is.
So they have to have clear vision also.
Yes, there's still
Still enough
ample,
between the two.
yes, I believe so. And if there were any concern, that could be reviewed at a later date as well. But from my review, I do believe that there's ample room.
So since the driver's point to where I think you're talking about, okay? I think you're talking about, right, like the C in this meeting.
Excuse me, we're just under planning commission comment. Thank you. Continue.
Same feeling about the bicycle racks too. Well, I mean, I don't, that's really something we need to do as a conditional use. We already have 4 spots there and it rains in Oregon. I mean, things are gonna get wet, so the covered place, I don't know if I'm really that big on it. So that's all of my comments for now.
Okay. Commissioner Conadell?
I think everything has been addressed.
Okay, Commissioner Parra?
No comments.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant in the audience? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Carrie Coleman. My address is 33555 Southwest Ferdale Road in Cornelia, 97113.
And you, sir?
My name is Ross Stadelman. My address is 16812 Northwest Quarry Road, North Plains, Oregon.
All right, thank you. And have you looked over the staff report?
Yes.
Do you have any questions, comments?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for the work that's been put into this, for your concern and for the detailed report. It's incredibly helpful to have Rowan's help in the process. Thank you. And as we looked at the report, we reviewed the conditions that were required. They all seem very agreeable things that we're happy to do, and very willing to adjust the parking lot, the tree, and the, what else did we have in there? Parking lot, tree. and-
Parking lot, tree, the
And the
bicycle.
bike, yeah, and the bike, yeah.
Cover for the bicycle.
Yes, we're more than happy to make those adjustments. And also happy to answer any questions or concerns that you may have.
Can you address my concern about the multiple rooms inside the building?
Yes, let me explain the way that our learning centers work. So, what you see on the floor plan where it says open room. So those would be rooms that we would use for classrooms. That would be where small groups of students come and they are divided up into grade level specifics, making sure that we're teaching appropriately to their level and keeping kids safe with the appropriate age ranges. And like we have a teacher and a assistant in the classrooms in the open room. And then the spaces where it says a room, and there's many of them, and they're the smaller spaces. Those are going to be offices. So the way that our school works is we are a virtual hybrid charter, meaning that our families homeschool. And so they come to our school. Yes, they are enrolled in our school, and they come to us for elective optional classes. But a big portion of what we do is we conference with these families and ensure that their education plans are up and running and that we're supporting their students. And so oftentimes those offices will be filled with a teacher and a family, so the parents and the student as we conference with them.
Nice, thank you. Any questions of the applicant?
Are you able to share the age range you plan to instruct?
Absolutely. So our school serves kinder through high school. However, we do not have days where all of those age ranges are going to be at the school for classes. We know better. And so, but what we do instead is that we divide up the days of the week based on there's primary days, and they might have some middle school in there as well. There's a middle school and high school days. For example, today at our learning center, it was a primary and middle school day. So we had kinder through second there in the morning, and in the afternoon, some third through fifth graders came in. Tomorrow we'll have a little bit of a wider range. We'll have the one classroom will have the kinder through third grade. The other class is going to have fourth through eighth graders. We're not going to have days where we have kindergartners and high schoolers in for the same classes. We do make sure that those are intentionally scheduled on different dates.
Just to follow up, given there will be those of driving age,
Yeah.
do you anticipate parking to be sufficient for both employees and those students?
Yes, so since most of our high school students have intense instruction loads, they're rarely in class. Our classes really are geared for K through 8. Right now, we probably have 4 or 5 high schoolers who come throughout the weekend. Currently, they don't drive themselves.
That's all.
Commissioner Levante,
No questions.
Commissioner Park,
No question.
Commissioner Condon,
No questions.
Commissioner Duncan, Commissioner Howell.
No.
Thank you very much. All right, is there any proponents, people wish to testify in favor of? Seeing none in the audience, is there any one on Zoom?
I do not believe so. No. No one's on Zoom, right? That motion's up, right? Yeah.
Okay, is there any opponent? People wish to testify against? Seeing none in the audience, is there anyone on Zoom?
No.
Okay, is there anyone that wishes to testify either for or against in a neutral position? Seeing none in the audience, any on Zoom?
No.
Okay, any discussion before we close the public hearing? I guess I'd like to get a census on what we think about the number of parking and what type of park or for bicycles before we close. What is the wishes of the planning commission?
I would offer my suggestion of maintain the 4 the applicant is already proposing, add 2 indoor for a total of 6.
So you're talking about 4 short term
Sure, yeah.
outside and 2 in covered. And would that satisfy the code requirements?
I believe so, yes.
Is that acceptable to the rest of the planning commission?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, with that. Commissioner Hauser.
I'm having a hard time with one ADA parking space. I think there should be more. If you have a student who's in a wheelchair or you have an instructor. I don't think 1 with 21 is really. It just sounds way too small.
Well, okay, so there was discussion between the assistant planner and myself about the required number of parking spaces because 2 different uses were identified as being similar. The maximum, I think, being 8 spaces,
I believe so.
even though I still maintain it's 10, but 21 is ample for that because that's what the applicant is saying they're gonna have. What is the requirement for ADA in this situation because I don't believe there was any real discussion other than being identified.
Yes, we do not have a specific criteria for ADA parking spaces.
I think it turned off. I think the system turned off.
Yeah. it-
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's a new one.
Speak up.
Okay, we don't have a code criteria, minimum. I do believe that ADA parking requirements, kick in at 25 spaces. And the one van accessible space, I will say, is consistent with what we have in other developments, in the city.
So,
But it is within the commission's authority with a conditional use permit to require more, ADA parking if you so please.
I'd like to see two. I just think one's not enough.
Any other comment? We'll close the public hearing at 6:36. And is there any deliberation on before we go to vote? Because whoever makes the motion, if it's for approval, can add whatever they want and then see if it's acceptable to the rest of the planning commission. So if there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve city file CUP 25-007 with the additional conditional items, as noted by staff in the tree, with additional ensuring clear vision standard met by both adjacent property and applicant property. Secondly, 2 additional indoor bike permanent or long-term parking spots.
Not necessarily indoor, undercover.
Undercover, yes, undercover, long-term parking spots. And 1 additional handicap spot for a total of 2.
Second,
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Hout for approval of conditional use permit, city file 25-007 with the additional conditions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, it's unanimous. We will move on to item number 7, unfinished business. Do we have, the planning commission have any unfinished business?
I can provide a short update. We did, staff provided a work session for city council at their last regular meeting. Discussing the current TGM concept planning grant, and our progress with that effort. City council received a very comprehensive update on that progress and expressed some concerns with public outreach and engagement. So staff is working to better address those concerns and continuing to work on the project.
Any comments? None. I'd like to follow up, get a follow-up on our last meeting. We discussed the UGB proposal following the workforce map, which was the one identified by the RAC. Where are we on that? And when is the planning commission gonna start working toward refining this proposal that we made?
Yes, this was also discussed during our work session with city council. The city council acknowledged that the RAC was a good public engagement process. We're interested in hearing more public engagement. So we're working on a solution to do more public engagement, building off of the RAC findings to as well as utilizing the findings from the TGM concept planning process to further inform a future UGB boundary line. So this is an ongoing effort within staff's tasks.
Are we still under a timeframe for that we discussed about with the grants that were in place?
Yes, the grant must be all grant activities must be finished by June 18th, 2026.
Any other unfinished business for the planning commission?
Order dates.
Did they have a time frame on when they were gonna gather this more information thing?
So right now, we're working on the public engagement step of the concept planning grant. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll be putting together with our consultant, a slight amendment to our public engagement process, and then hopefully come October, November, we'll be kicking off that public engagement.
Okay. There's no other comments on unfinished business. Does the planning commission, item 8, any new business?
No, nothing from staff.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on then to item number 9 is the land use applications and the city project report. Monthly report. Any questions or comments on those? Hearing none, we'll move on to planning, or item 10 is the planning commission comments. Any comments from planning commissioner, Commissioner Levante?
Gosh, yeah, I would like to propose, to start having workshops so that we can start working on our code, amendments. I got a handful of items that I've found areas in that it would be nice to start bringing this stuff forward. Specifically creating a mixed use, code section that we are lacking at this moment.
Understandable. If I may, Commissioner, the staff has identified another potential funding avenue for a more comprehensive code update. I'll be bringing forward an update on that at the next meeting. But we are looking into additional funding and resources to hopefully do a more comprehensive update and do that with the proper public engagement and extra capacity to really start moving these updates that I know you all are really looking forward to.
Kicking this can down the road and we missed out with the Brim Hill application, so.
Yep.
I don't wanna wait a year. I just think that's silly. There's no reason why we can't start working on stuff.
There is a somewhat of a capacity concern, but we are working to have consultants on board and gain capacity where we can.
Let me ask you, is there any, I mean, you're talking about bringing on consultants on board and stuff like that, but yet, the planning commission has been working on code updates before. Can the planning commission submit updates that they want to have seen done?
Chair King, I would say yes. I mean, anything you all go through and identify as areas of concern, would certainly be welcomed and part of that. I think the involvement of the consultants would just be taking a look across the board, adding whatever or emphasizing whatever you all bring up. And then just being comprehensive about a zoning code rewrite, basically. And the resources from the state to do that, so that it's not out of our pocket.
Okay. That's the Vice Commissioner Levante, or?
Not if we keep kicking it down the road. I mean, sure, we can work on it, but.
Let me ask staff, what, as of right now, do we have anything scheduled for our October meeting?
Other than an update on the application to DLCD for assistance with the code updates, no, nothing is on the docket for that meeting.
Okay. And then right now, do we have anything lined up for the November meeting?
No, but there is a possibility that an application will come in for a non-conforming use. I recently had a conversation with a gentleman regarding that, but if that application comes in is yet to be seen.
Okay, thank you. So what I would suggest is that maybe the planning commission members, look through their notes, come up with what they think is the most important in code updates. And send them to staff, and maybe since there's nothing on the October meeting, we can have our general business meeting and then move to a workshop, at least discuss the items. If that works for everyone. So if you want to send me copies and then send staff, or copy me when you send it to staff, I'd appreciate that. So. Any other planning commission comments? Any comments from city manager? Does it affect the planning commission?
Not specifically, other than, with the intent of applying for a technical assistance grant rather than a TGM grant, which is what we attempted last time and did not get. The DLCD technical assistance grant route is what we would do. And to the extent that this body identifies and brings code rewrite priorities, we can be in our grant application more specific and precise with a scope of work, which helps the success of getting that, rather than generalities and being vague about what we need. So that exercise in October would be of value.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Levante.
So in regards of sending, you updates. I've heard some conflicting things about, members emailing each other, even though we try to not have a quorum. Is there any issue with, basically polling everybody on the same thing?
I guess it's a good time to talk about current Oregon Government Ethics Commission issues. I did this for the EDC, the Economic Development Commission last week. So, there is currently enforcement of public meetings law based on Oregon Government Ethics Commission opinion that has narrowed down and made it more specific regarding what public bodies like this one that are subject to public meetings law can do in terms of communicating with one another outside of a public meeting. And at this point, what I mean by that is, you as members of a body in kind of identifying this very thing, what are you thinking about this code being identified as needing updating or overhaul? As long as a quorum of you do not email or converse with one another outside of public meeting, up to 3 of you can, but once a 4th person does, communicate via email with one another or communicate in person. And that includes a chain. If Tom had coffee with Lonnie about a topic, and then Lonnie spoke to Heather, and then Heather spoke to Iggy. If any one of the three of you can talk about things, but once one of you talks to a 4th, whether or not the rest of you know, you can be, and if you happen to be the 4th person outside of a public meeting discussing a topic that the 3 of you have also talked about in coordination. Even if you as the 4th didn't know that 3 of the others had talked about it, you can receive a complaint before the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. So the key is you can work as a body in subcommittees of up to 3, groups of up to 3, just don't bring in a 4th person. Where a quorum of people offline are discussing something that will or can go before planning commission. So just avoid talking to more than 3 people about something. The EDC, for instance, in its bylaws, has subcommittees. There's a subcommittee to talk about downtown development. There's a subcommittee to talk about the UGB. There's a subcommittee to talk about the GOA and business marketing. They work in groups of 3, but they know to not bring anybody else in on topics among those 3 people, because that triggers a potential public meetings law violation. So I would say the same thing here. If you want to talk in groups of up to 3 offline outside of a public meeting, that's fine. just whatever you do, don't bring a fourth person in.
So does that pertain to just current information that we're working on, or we happen to all four talk about a new house being built
Purely,
and not even
great question. Purely things that can or will come before this body.
can?
And it might, and it's not just topics of decision. It's information that may become important or bear upon a future decision. So anything that could be related to true business of this body in a public meeting. Don't, if you all wanna have a tailgate party for an Oregon Ducks game or a Beavers game, no big deal. Or maybe you're talking, personal in nature, those sorts of things, but anything that could be used, any information that could inform a decision here, or any topic that is going to be a decision here. You cannot talk about in more than groups of 3 outside of a public meeting.
So that eliminates code, because that's just a recommendation to council.
You're making a recommendation, so that would be covered by what you can talk about here, yeah.
Could I suggest something that might stay away from that? If each one of you individually made a list of your top 15 or 10 or 15, or however many you guys decide how many of your top important codes you want to address. Make an individual list, each one of you, and each one of you send it to just Rowan and I. And we will gather those and make a giant list, and, we'll mark, oh, this one about parking, that has 7, all 7 of you, that's a top one. And then we'll consolidate the list, and then we'll send it out blindly to each of you and show you what the top ones are, and then you can choose from that list which ones are your priorities, and we can whittle it down to an agreement in general.
We can't blindly talk to one at a time and then come up with more than 4, and then you're.
Yeah, I don't, we can get that, so
Yeah.
we can't send a group, but you can send a group.
I would send it blindly.
Oh.
I would send it blindly, so I would send
Can
it
we
as
not
a.
Send it blindly?
Hmm?
Can we not send it blindly? I know how to do that.
I would advise not to.
Okay.
If I might, another approach to this would be sort of like I mentioned, the example with the Economic Development Commission. This body, you, Chair King, could take volunteers for a code rewrite subcommittee, and then those 3 together, not involving anybody else, could kind of, or the 3 who are most passionate about the issue or more knowledgeable about it, could become a subcommittee, and then the 3 of you actively work together outside of meeting. And then bring back to create the list, and then bring it back for open conversation to add more, drill down on something.
Yeah.
It's just outside of public meeting for conversing online or in person or some combination creates the problem.
Okay, it was bigger than I thought it was, geez.
It's gotten that way in the last.
So we could all get together and talk about cars, so.
Go for it. Just not parking spaces.
How- Or clear. Okay, then with that, I would suggest, as we discussed, any of the planning commissioners with interest in certain codes they want, send them to staff, and staff will send them to Commissioner Labonte. She'll be here,
I
she'll be
think
the,
I've touched every code so far, just if with my notes,
she'll
so
be the chairman of the committees.
I,
Yes.
Thanks for volunteering, Heather.
Okay, let's move on to item number 11 is city council comments. Counselor Phage, any comments from city council?
I always like to preface in each meeting I go to how well run meetings are. I love the meetings, the language meetings. It is so crisp. Good job, Cherokee. You run a great meeting. And it's highly technical, so I love this stuff. The main thing coming up right now is, talk of the town, is Tuesday, September 16th at 6 p.m. City council going to interview candidates to become mayor. It's gonna be a little bit of a rally act here. So there's probably gonna be a lot of people in there trying to.
It already is, there's people knocking at the doors.
So.
And you don't need to vote.
Oh, you're the one.
So if you're interested in seeing this progress that happen and you wanna be there, please attend. And see how we have 4 people running. So. That's really what I have, that's the big news we have coming on, that. It's coming in next week. So next Tuesday.
Can you clarify how the position will be selected and especially how a tie will be?
A tie is gonna be going until we break it. There is gonna be no tiebreaker person, because normally what happens is the mayor does not get a chance to vote, there's a mayor. So the council president will still retain his rights as a council member to vote. So that leaves 6 to 6. If there is a tie, we have to work it out until it's not,
Okay, so the president doesn't get a second vote.
you know.
Thanks.
So no, the president is not gonna get to wear 2 hats. He's gonna administer the meeting as. Jeannie said.
That's what I was asking.
So he's gonna administer the meeting. Hopefully. There's a lot of people that are really care about this community, so it's not gonna be a cut and dry, easy peasy one, right? There are a lot of people that care about the community, a lot of people that have experience. It's gonna be I would much rather it be a public election. It's like some way out of it. But unfortunately, the mayor that was elected didn't fulfill the duties. So we have to do this arrangement now. And it's unfortunate. It's gonna have to be chosen by the Elizabeth Council.
Thank you. Any of the commissioners have questions
I do
or
about that.
comments to city council?
So, the people that will be involved with asking the questions and stuff, are those just voting people here that are gonna be, or are you gonna hear from people all outside of the city limits, outside the county? I mean, what are you guys going to take to heart?
So. The right for free speech is pretty strong, something we see now. Won't be everybody there. So anybody else that come up and talk about it can. I'm not taking a voting tally. The vote already happened. That's gone. That ship has sailed. So we're not gonna take a poll of everybody in here and use that as a tally.
I was just curious if you get more feedback on one side versus the other type thing.
I fully expect people to try like vote the deck. It's gonna be a route, right? So you can fully expect. There's some organization going on here and, get there and,
I don't.
there's we that. The city council worked for about 2 hours making 6 questions, so it's all fair and nice, and we're gonna use those questions. Where the way it's probably gonna be set up. We can get clarification about this before the actual meeting starts. Where we have a chance for a public comment. And then the people that are applying will get to come up after that. And answer the kind of questions they have and discuss things. And we're gonna ask questions. So it's gonna be a bit of a dog and pony show. We can't be helped. So.
Thank you.
Any other comments to city council?
I kind of
Commissioner Levante?
a follow-up to that. So in regards to our discussion this evening regarding emails, there's a lot of people encouraging to email all the council members.
I have a lot of emails.
Well, so how does that work?
I cannot communicate with other city councilors. Everybody can communicate with me that are
So
not.
the citizens can shoot an
Absolutely.
email to all 5 of you or 6 of you. and
Mhm.
We're just one.
And some of them actually send them directly to Phil and I, or to info at North Plains, and then I forward them on to all the counselors.
Or they do my door and knock on it.
Yeah, we wanna make sure that all the counselors are getting all the public comments, for sure. I mean, that's what the public wants. But there are also people that only send public comments to 2 of the counselors or to 4 of the counselors. It doesn't necessarily mean they get to everybody either, so that's why we prefer they come to staff so that we can get them to all 6 counselors, but that doesn't necessarily happen, so.
It seems
So-
more fair if they came to
so-
everybody.
Mhm.
So the skill meeting, yes, right, does that think, that affect this me, since we. This is the city councilman, you know. Right.
He's all choked up.
That's kind of the way we all feel about it.
Something you said, I believe. Okay, we'll move on to item 12 then, staff comments.
Yes, so we've already covered a lot of my comments, but I'll start with, based on our discussion about code amendments. City council did identify in their last regular meeting a concern about the non-conforming use and structure codes, and that they would like those to be looked at. So based on that recommendation, that will be top of our list as it comes from city council. As Bill mentioned, we will be pursuing the DLCD technical assistance grant for some additional capacity to get these code amendments done in a more comprehensive manner. It's always preferable. The more work we can get done at once, the better. We are awaiting a land use application from the North Plains Food Bank. That process has become a bit complicated. City council will have a work session on Monday to discuss the matter, but the North Plains Food Bank per code is required to undergo a type 2 land design review to occupy their new space at 31392 Northwest of Marshall Street. So we will be looking forward to that application hopefully being submitted soon. Otherwise, it's been pretty business as usual in the planning department. We've seen a slight slowdown of building permits as summer comes to an end, less people are installing solar panels and air conditioners. But nonetheless, business is going well.
Great. Any comments to staff?
I have a question, next to the food stamp there, I noticed that they have a big dumpster sitting on the street there now.
Yes.
Is there gonna be a different place for that, or is it just gonna sit on the street?
That will need to be addressed in their review, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other comments? For staff? Okay, hearing none. If there is no other commission business, our next regular meeting will be October the 8th here at 6 o'clock unless otherwise notified. We are adjourned.